So, 3 years later, Hogwarts Legacy has sold over 40 million copies. 40 million! That number alone tells you something about why this game is still worth talking about in 2026. But here's the thing. This isn't just a game that rode the Harry Potter name wave and forgot about it. This is a game that's gotten better with updates, embraced modding, hit Nintendo Switch 2, and somehow managed to be one of the most engaging open-world RPGs you can play right now. And I'm not saying this lightly. After spending another solid chunk of time replaying different house routes and diving into the latest enhancements, I've got some real thoughts about why this game deserves another look, especially if you missed it the first time around. For anyone who hasn't been paying attention, Hogwarts Legacy launched in February 2023 as this massive, ambitious attempt to create what fans have wanted for literally decades, a proper open-world Harry Potter experience. Not a movie tie-in, not a mobile game, but a full AAA you can lose 100 hours in this thing. It became the best-selling game of 2023. It broke Call of Duty's stranglehold on the annual bestseller list, and by the end of 2023, we were already talking about it as one of the most important licensed games ever made. Now we're in March 2026, and here's what's changed. The game got a massive modding framework in January 2025. It hit Nintendo Switch 2 in June 2025, which apparently sold another 6 million copies. The planned $25-$30 DLC expansion, that got canceled, but the community didn't stop. It exploded. And the upcoming sequel, it's happening. Warner Bros. Is coordinating the story with HBO's new Harry Potter series that just started airing. So this game isn't dead. It's actually entering a new phase of relevance. The question isn't whether Hogwarts Legacy was good in 2023. We already know it was. The question is whether it's worth your time now in 2026, when you've got a library full of other RPGs to choose from. Let's start with the story, because this is where Hogwarts Legacy actually does something genuinely clever. It's set in the 1890s, 100 years before Harry Potter ever arrives at Hogwarts. You're joining as a fifth-year student, which is abnormal and sets up a mystery immediately. On your way to the castle, you get attacked by a dragon, manage to escape, and accidentally discover something called ancient magic. This is crucial. You're the only person in the world who can see and manipulate this forgotten form of magic. And this power is exactly what everyone else is hunting for. You've got Ranrock, a goblin leading a rebellion against wizardkind. You've got Victor Rookwood and the Dark Wizards. Everyone's searching for these hidden repositories of ancient magic, and you're caught in the middle. What's brilliant about this setup is that it's completely separate from the main Harry Potter story. J.K. Rowling wasn't even directly involved in writing this. Avalanche Software created an entirely original narrative that fits perfectly into the wizarding world without stepping on canon or competing with established lore. The story focuses on 4 mysterious figures called the Keepers, past Hogwarts professors who guarded this ancient magic and hid it away. As you progress, you uncover their memories through a magical device called a pensieve. You learn about Isadora Morganach, a brilliant but troubled professor who misused ancient magic to extract emotional pain from people, becoming addicted to it. The Keepers had to stop her. Now, a century later, Ranrock wants to use that same power to overthrow wizardkind and free the goblin race from oppression. The story has emotional weight. Without spoiling anything, there's a specific moment with Professor Fig, your mentor throughout the game, that genuinely hits different than a lot of modern games' story moments. It's not trying to be a trilogy-spanning saga. It's contained, personal, and it ends definitively. For people tired of cliffhangers and open endings, that's actually refreshing. The core gameplay loop is built around a few interlocking systems, and combat is definitely the centerpiece. Here's how it works. You've got 4 spell slots that you can customize. You can chain spells together to create combos. The game gives you color-coded shield indicators on enemies. If an enemy has a red shield, you break it with damage spells. Yellow requires control spells. Purple is for force spells. You're constantly juggling offense, defense, and the right spell for the situation. What I actually appreciate is that the combat doesn't feel like a Dark Souls ripoff trying too hard. It's got its own flow. You're dodging, you're blocking with Protego shield spells, you're countering with Stupefy stuns to leave enemies vulnerable. There's environmental interaction. You can use Accio to pull enemies into floor spikes, or use Incendio to set objects on fire. The animations are satisfying, the feedback is immediate, and at higher difficulties, it actually demands attention and planning. Potions and magical plants add another layer. You can brew potions that boost your damage, increase your defense, make you invisible, heal you, all of it. These aren't mandatory, the game doesn't force you to use them, but they create this satisfying depth if you want to engage with it. The same with plants. Mandrakes and venomous tentacula can be deployed in combat to provide passive damage and crowd control. Now, the complaint, and it's legitimate, is that the combat can feel easy if you ignore these systems. If you just equip the most powerful spells and spam them while chugging healing potions, yeah, you'll steamroll most encounters. But if you play on hard difficulty, skip the overpowered talents, and actually manage resources, the combat opens up into something surprisingly tactical. The dueling club and battle arenas actually become challenging and fun when you're fighting multiple opponents simultaneously. One thing that impressed me replaying this in 2026 is how the combat aged. It doesn't feel dated. It still feels responsive and engaging. That's harder to do than you'd think in RPGs from 3 years ago. Outside of combat, exploration is the other half of the experience. Hogwarts Castle itself is genuinely worth exploring. There are secret passages everywhere, paintings with actual conversations hidden behind them. The Room of Requirement becomes your personal hub, where you can grow potion ingredients, tame magical beasts, and upgrade your gear. The seasonal changes affect the world. Autumn leaves blanket the grounds, winter brings snow, and the visual variety keeps long play sessions from feeling stale. The beast taming system is way more involved than I expected. You can capture creatures, breed them, and the magical beasts give you ingredients you need for potions. It's this whole interconnected loop. Potion brewing uses ingredients from creatures you've bred. Potions helping combat. Combat gets you gold to buy more creature habitats. It's a system that creates reasons to explore every inch of the map. Then there's the Room of Requirement itself. You literally decorate and design your own magical space. You place workstations, plant gardens, breed creatures, and watch it evolve as you unlock more items and customization options. It's not as deep as something like Skyrim's player housing, but it's a solid, rewarding progression system that gives you your own space in the castle. Now, the big thing that happened in January 2025 was official mod support on PC. This was huge. We're talking a built-in mod browser integrated with CurseForge. You can download new quest packs, cosmetics, gameplay overhauls, all directly through the game. There are mods that add entire new classes and homework systems. There are new quest chains created by the community that are genuinely impressive. This essentially means if you're bored with vanilla Hogwarts Legacy, you're not actually bored. There's suddenly dozens of hours of additional content created by fans. This Switch 2 version released in June 2025, and while it doesn't have mod support obviously, it's the best portable version of the game by far. The hardware bump made it possible to run the game at actually consistent frame rates on a handheld, which is wild. Graphics-wise, Hogwarts Legacy is still impressive in 2026. Hogwarts Castle is a masterpiece. The way light streams through the stained glass windows, the dynamic shadows, the particle effects from spells, it all comes together to create this magical atmosphere that's hard to fake. On PS5, you get Fidelity Mode running at 1440p targeting 30 FPS, or Performance Mode at 1080p targeting 60 FPS. The PS5 Pro Enhanced version, which launched in 2024, added full ray-traced reflections on water bodies and improved visual fidelity across the board. If you've got a PS5 Pro, it's genuinely the best console version of the game right now. The difference is noticeable without being game-changing. Xbox Series X targets similar resolutions and frame rates, though some sources suggest it actually has slightly more stable performance than PS5 in some areas. Xbox Series S gets the short end of the stick, with lower NPC density and reduced visual quality, but it's still playable if that's your platform. PC is where this game shows its real potential. January 2025 added DLSS 4 support, and if you've got an RTX GPU, that frame generation tech is a game changer. You're looking at the potential to hit 100 plus FPS at 4K with max ray tracing settings. The ray-traced shadows, reflections, and ambient occlusion create this incredible sense of depth and lighting fidelity. DLSS 4 upscaling is aggressive, but maintains image quality in a way previous DLSS iterations couldn't. That said, there are legitimate performance issues on PC that persist even in 2026. Traversal stutter, random hitches when moving through the castle is still there. The game has some CPU bottlenecking issues that are hard to get around, even on high-end rigs. A 4090 can't completely eliminate this problem. It's frustrating because the game looks so good, but then suddenly the frame pacing breaks and you get a stutter. It's not game-breaking, but it's there. On Switch 2, the performance is actually solid. Stable 30 FPS in docked mode, solid handheld performance. It's the most accessible version from a technical perspective.
Here's the honest part that some people are still upset about. The expansion DLC we were all expecting, the one that was supposed to be 10 to 15 hours of new content, Warner Bros. Canceled it. Bloomberg reported this in March 2025. The stated reason was scope concerns and pricing. Apparently, the amount of content wasn't substantial enough to justify a $25-$30 price tag, and they didn't want another backlash. So, instead of a traditional story DLC, you got a definitive edition that never happened, and the developer's attention shifted to working on Hogwarts Legacy 2. Now, is this disappointing? Absolutely. A lot of us wanted to see Azkaban, Quidditch integrated into the main game, expanded creature taming, all of that, and that's not happening as official DLC. But, and this is the silver lining, the modding community has stepped in. There are quests being made by talented fans, there are cosmetic packs, there are gameplay overhauls. It's not the same as an official expansion, but it's something. And if Avalanche is putting all their resources into the sequel, which is supposedly going to coordinate story elements with HBO's new Harry Potter series, maybe that's not the worst thing. The sequel could be legitimately great if they learn from what worked here and address the criticisms. Quidditch still isn't in the main game, but there is a standalone Quidditch Champions game that was released separately, if you want to scratch that itch.
Here's my honest assessment in 2026. What works? Hogwarts Castle is an achievement. The exploration, the atmosphere, the secret passages, it's a perfect playground for Harry Potter fans. The story is original, emotional, and doesn't overstay its welcome. The spell system is engaging and allows for creative problem solving. Taming beasts, brewing potions, decorating the Room of Requirement, these systems interconnect in satisfying ways. The fact that you can play through as different houses and get a somewhat different experience adds replay value. What doesn't work as well? The story choices feel illusory. Your house matters for social reasons, but it doesn't fundamentally change your narrative path. The main quest line is pretty linear. You're hitting set story beats regardless of what you do. The exploration, while pretty, follows Ubisoft's checklist structure. Merlin trials, bandit camps, treasure vaults, field guide pages. It's hunting collectibles that feel more like obligations than discoveries. The difficulty balance is weird. Easy mode is basically a power fantasy. Hard mode is better, but even then, if you equip the right talents and potions, you become untouchable. Performance on PC still has those traversal stutters that shouldn't exist in 2026. And the game is completely single-player with zero online features or co-op, which is fine, but it limits replayability for some people. The game is also not shy about its chosen one narrative. Your character is special, you're destined for incredible things. There's no playing as a normal student who just wants to learn magic. Everyone treats you as this legendary figure from the jump. That's a design choice, and some people love it, but it can feel a bit much. Is Hogwarts Legacy worth playing in 2026? If you're a Harry Potter fan, absolutely. This is the closest you'll ever get to living that fantasy. The castle feels real. The magic feels real. You can spend 70+ hours exploring, and it'll feel like time well spent. If you're a general open-world RPG fan, it depends. The combat is solid, but not the deepest. The story is good, but straightforward. The exploration is gorgeous, but checklist-heavy. You're looking at a very good game, not a legendary one like Zelda or Baldur's Gate 3. If you're not into Harry Potter at all, this probably isn't going to convert you. The entire appeal is the authenticity of the setting and the fan service of attending Hogwarts. Without that emotional connection, it's a competent action RPG with a familiar open world formula. The price is right. You can find this for $10 to $20 regularly on Steam and consoles. At that price, it's an absolute steal. Full price? Still solid value given the playtime, but wait for a sale. The modding community in 2026 has made it better. New quests, new cosmetics, balance tweaks, that's real added value if you're on PC. In conclusion, Hogwarts Legacy is still worth your time in 2026. It's a respectful, ambitious, massive love letter to Harry Potter that somehow became a cultural phenomenon. It's not perfect, but it's genuinely special. And with 40 million people agreeing, maybe it's worth finding out what all the fuss is about. Thanks for watching. If you're thinking about jumping in, let me know in the comments which house you'd pick. I've always been Team Ravenclaw, but I'm curious what everyone else goes for. Like the video if this helped, subscribe for more game reviews, and I'll see you in the next one.